Jesus is Lord. And we are having a nice weekend. The Lord is good.
Amen.
On Friday we were in Birmingham, in Telford. We came back yesterday. And just as we were coming, we had a news, one of the great guys in Ghana, one of the great journalists, the guy just came out in Ghana, so good, and was working with Joy FM, and all of a sudden had an appointment with BBC, and was working, I think he was handling the show Focus on Africa. So good, so good. Just yesterday in the morning died of cardiac arrest. And it was this morning, my wife was telling me, I don't know how true, they were saying that at the point of his death, there was only one thing he said, that tell people to accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and personal Savior. That was what he said. Why do I want to say this? I want to tell you that what we are doing and what we are saying about Jesus Christ, it's not a fiction. It's not a story. But it is real. So if you have the opportunity to be in His presence, don't take it for granted. If you have the opportunity to have a fellowship or relationship with Him, you've got to take it as precious, that you are ready to exchange it whenever, anything. Hallelujah. Amen. I pray that just 42 years, it's not even 42, 41 years. He had 41 just last October, so it was going to be 42 coming October. This loss is life. You have to say, why? What is happening? It's sad, isn't it? 41 years, so young. But Jesus is Lord. Amen. We have been dealing with some weightier matters, which we said the first quarter, and depending on where the Lord will lead us to, said that we're going to look at the qualities that guarantees productivity in our work with Him. So there are certain qualities which we were looking at the last time we started it. I did introduce it the last Sunday in 2 Peter chapter number 1, which he was talking about. He said, according as His divine power, that is from the King James Version. According as His divine power has given us all things that pertains to life and godliness through the knowledge of Him that has called us to glory and virtue. Amen. He said, through this He has given us very great and precious promises, so that through them you may participate in the divine nature, having escaped the corruption in the world caused by evil desires. He says, for this very reason, make every effort to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness, he talks about so many things. So the next couple of weeks, what we are going to deal with, we're going to take them one after the other, because these are the qualities the writer was trying to deal with. So we're going to deal with it in detail. So we're going to look at faith, goodness, we're going to look at knowledge, self-control, perseverance, godliness, brotherly kindness, and then we're going to look at love, one after the other. Hallelujah. But today we want to deal with the subject of faith. Hallelujah. As one of the qualities that will guarantee our productivity this year. Hallelujah. I think this is what the Lord would have us here. The theme for the whole year is a year in His presence, which is for the entire church. So, when you stay in His presence, you enjoy Him. And when God comes in His fullness, you don't lack anything. Because you have everything that is in Him. Jesus said that seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you, or other things will be given to you. So if you know how to be in His presence, then whatever that it takes, you can to make life comfortable, you will be able to have it. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Mighty warrior, ready battle, Jehovah is your name. Mighty warrior, mighty warrior. Mighty warrior, mighty warrior, you are there in battle, Jehovah is yours. Let me get the strings with this. Mighty warrior, To look at it from Romans chapter number 4, verse number 13, and then we'll read to the 21st or 22nd verse. Mighty one, you are to Jehovah is your name. Mighty warrior, love you, Jesus. Are we all there? If you are there, say amen. If you are not there, say Lord help me. Okay. Bless you. Jesus is Lord.
Amen.
He said, it was not through the law that Abraham and his offspring received the promise that he will be the heir of the world, but through the righteousness that comes by faith. For if those who live by law are the promise, if those who live by the law are heirs, faith has no value, and the promise is worthless, because law brings wrath, and where there is no law, there is no transgression. Therefore, the promise comes by faith. I hope you heard that. He said the promise comes by what?
Faith.
By faith. So that it may be by grace and may be guaranteed to all Abraham's offspring. Oh, I hope you have that in your Bible. Yeah. Not only those who are of the law, but also those who are of the faith of Abraham. He is the father of us all, the Jews and the Gentiles who have believed and have been qualified through faith. The 17 says that, as it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our father, and in the sight of God in whom he believed, the God who gives life to the dead and calls things that are not as though they were. Oh Jesus. Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed, and so became the father of many nations. Just as it had been said to him, so shall your offsprings be. Without weakening in his faith, he faced the fact. What did he face? The fact that his body was as good as, his body was as good as what? Dead. Bless you, Mama Tony. Since he was about 100 years old. Oh, do I have that one only in my Bible? Do you have that one?
Yes.
And that Sarah's womb was also dead. Oh, Jesus, we give you the praise. Yet he did not waver through unbelief. He did not waver through what? Unbelief. Regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in his faith and gave glory to God, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what he had promised. Glory to Jesus. Amen. Amen. You see, we have been dealing with the subject of faith for quite a long time, and I have preached it, I have spoken about it. Last week I gave a little bit about it. But then when we started dealing with this subject, he says that according as his divine power has given us all things pertaining to life and godliness, through the knowledge of him that has called us to glory and virtue, through this he has given us exceeding great and precious what? Promises. Did you, I hope you have that one in your Bible, in 2 Peter chapter number 1. Through this he has given us exceeding great and precious promises. that through them or by them you will escape the corruption that is in the world, that comes or emanates through evil desires. You see, the reason why God gives us His promise is that we will be able to live like Him. Because, yes, bless you. Can we go ahead? Whereby are given to us exceeding great and precious promises, that by this ye might be partakers of what? Partakers of what? Divine nature. Having escaped the corruption that is in the world through lust. Stay there, Emmanuel. Through lust. Which other verses will say through evil desires. So God has given us His promises so that we will be partakers of the divine nature. And what is a divine nature is He talking about? He's talking about the nature of God. We being able to live like Him. The Bible says that in the book of Genesis, He said that let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So what God wants you to be is to exhibit His true nature. And when you exhibit the nature of God, do you know what you do? You escape the corruption that is in the world, and that comes through lust or evil desires. Anybody that walks in God forsakes evil desires. You will jump over temptations of the enemy. I have said this here. I said that there are two things that brings temptation and that makes temptation successful. God doesn't tempt us. It is the enemy that tempts us. The enemy will never succeed. Whenever temptation, or the only way temptation can be successful, is two things. You bring one to the table, and the devil also brings one. What you bring to the table is what we call desires. And what he brings is enticement. So what you desire and what he will entice you with, if he entices you and you have the evil desire for his enticement, then surely you will fall into it. It doesn't happen. Don't tell me that temptation just happened. No. The devil will never entice you with anything you don't have a desire for. You've got to bear it in mind. If you have solved issues of your life with women, he will never entice you with that. But if you are still struggling with issues of, let me put it this way, smoking, then surely sometimes he will brush your emotions with issues that will connect you back to your smoking. That's what he does. But if you build yourself in God, do you know something? They said that in Matthew chapter number 4, Jesus had gone through hunger. He had gone through fasting. And just as he had finished with John baptizing him and was led by the Spirit of God into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. The devil never showed up in the first day. But he showed up at the point when Jesus was weak, searching for bread and searching for food to eat. Have you ever come to a point where you don't get hungry when you have not made up your mind to fast? You don't get hungry. You only become hungry the day you have made up your mind to fast. Has it happened to you? Yes. They said that when Jesus had fasted for 40 days, then the guy showed up. He said, if you are the Son of Man, turn these stones to bread. You see, the desire was there. Bless you, Emmanuel. The desire. Jesus had a desire which he could have given in to the devil. But he stood on his ground and said, no. So anytime the devil comes on your way, he comes with something that may probably be your weakness, which will entice you with. And that is why you don't look over your weaknesses. If you know that this is where I am weak, you build upon it. You show it up. You build upon it. Pray about it. Deal with it. If you know that what leads me to commit this crime and this evil is this. Watching certain kind of things will lead me to certain things. I'm not going to watch it at all. I have made up my mind never to do it. You see, in life, you've got to have principles in your life that will guard your life and lead you to safety. It wouldn't work for everybody, but it works for you. At a certain point in your life, you've got to have principles that will lead you to the next phase of your life. Because mind you, the devil is very wicked. He's not interested in you making it. So he wants to stop you before your time. He has seen something in your life which you are not aware. And he has seen a future which you carry, which you have no idea of. You know what? Anybody that is born in God has a great future. Amen. And the devil is very, very, very careful in dealing with such. Have you ever seen the devil? Somebody that is not born again, is not concerned for what he does with his life. Somebody that is not born, he's not concerned. But as soon as you are born again, you know what? There are certain promises of God over your life. Before you were born, there were promises that God had already given concerning all children of God. So the moment you are in Him, you qualify for those things. It is just like your father being very rich. The moment you are born or you emanate from the loins of that man who is called your father, you inherit an inheritance that you did not work for, but the man worked for it. You are not going to be poor because your father has already paid the price. That is what he's telling us. That his divine power has given us all things that pertains to life and godliness. I have inheritance and I have precious promises, not just because I work for it, but it's just because I have entered into Him. I qualify for those things. And whenever you have it, you just move into it, and the devil wants to stop you. And this is what he comes and is capable of building in you evil desires. That when you have those evil desires, then surely when the devil entices you, you will give in. And that will mess up the plans and the purposes of God concerning your life. Are we together? Yes. Are we moving on? Because we've got to understand this. So when I have the promises of God, I don't have any issue with desires. Nothing with jealousy. Nothing with envy. We are not going to, that problem will never be talked about. Because I know that the plans and the purposes of God concerning your life is different from mine. There are certain things I can do, you cannot do. And there are certain things you can do, I cannot do. You got to understand it. I'm not going to be jealous about your life. There is a path God has given and carved for you. That is different from mine. There are certain things I will sleep. When you wake me up, I will rise up. I don't need to school myself. I will do it at ease. You will have to school yourself to do it. When you wake me up, I'm going to do it. But there are certain things God has blessed you with that I cannot do. You've got to understand it. Each and everyone has got issues and promises of God concerning his or her life. And these are the promises which God has given so that you can partake of his very nature. And when you have partaken of his very nature, you then will escape the corruption that comes through the evil desires. So I want us to solve that issue. When we finish with that whole issue, then we can move on to faith. So we now know that God has given us his promises. And the reason why he has given us his promises is that we can take part of his very nature and be like him. Now what God has given us pertaining to life and godliness is to make life easy. But you can only walk through this through certain keys. Or these powers can only be exhibited in your life through certain qualities. In order to ensure productivity or bringing that power which he has given to you to make all things pertaining to life and godliness, to make them or to realize them, you need to put these qualities. Emotion. And the first thing which he talks about is faith. That you need faith in order to key yourselves into the promises of God. God don't give you this thing as in this, but he gives you embedded in a form of promise that he gives you. But you see, I told you last week, the promises of God, they are as good as the reality. Are we okay? The promises of God is as good as the reality. Whatever God does and promises you with is as good as the reality. So if he tells you that I'm going to give you a mobile phone, you've got to take it as he has given you. That matter is settled. There is nothing concerned. There is no fuss about it. There is no doubt about it. What he says, he has said it. And that is it. If he says that I'm going to give you a house, he has said it. It is that promise given to you is as good as having that house. Amen. I don't know whether we understand. That is what I was explaining last week. That I need water to drink. But I have in my pocket 10 pounds. But having the 10 pounds is as good as having the water to drink. Because that gives me the assurance that if I'm able to walk into Morrison's, or little that is here, with that 10 pounds on me, I can exchange that 10 pounds with that bottle of water. So if I enter into that shop, I can just pick up the water, start drinking it before I get to the till. Because I know I have something in my pocket that is as good as exchanging that bottle of water with my 10 pounds. Are we together? So what we are saying is that when God gives you promise, you've got to be able to embrace the promises which God has given to you and walk with it. Now, the only thing that can prevent you from achieving the promises of God or bringing that promises into reality is unbelief. It's unbelief. And now, Apostle Paul takes us to the book of Romans. And he starts dealing with us in Romans chapter 4. He starts dealing with us concerning that. Romans chapter number 4. Verse number 13. He said that it was not through the law that Abraham and his offspring received the promise that he will be the heir of the world. God gave a promise to Abraham that you are going to be the heir of the world. But the promise that was given to Abraham was realized. And indeed, Abraham has become the heir of the world. But this promise was not achieved through the law, but it was achieved through faith. But this faith came, which was what he's saying as simple. Let me paraphrase it. Let me try to summarize it so that we can understand it better. God gave a promise that I want somebody to be the heir of the world. But the only person that qualifies to be the heir of the world is anybody that is righteous. But I'm looking at the righteousness of God, or righteousness that comes from God alone. That I'm not talking about righteousness that is being achieved or attained through the workings of the law. Because the law magnifies sin in us. So then, God was looking for a form of righteousness that is as high. Then, God found Abraham. That just took God at his word and believed God. So the fact that he believed God, it was credited to him for righteousness. And that's why when you read, start reading from the Romans chapter number 4, come in. He said, for he that works not, but believes in him that is able to justify the ungodly, it is counted to him righteousness. Have you come across that scripture? Emmanuel, can we go to verse number 4? Number 5, verse number 5. Romans 4:5. Yeah. But him that works not, but believe on him that justifies the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. So Abraham became the heir of the world through righteousness, but righteousness that was attained through faith. Are we settled with that? So that we can move on. And now the 16th says that therefore the promise comes by faith. The promise becomes a reality, or is only achieved through faith. You can only embrace the reality of the promise through faith. Are we together? So that it may be guaranteed, it may be by grace, and may be guaranteed to all Abraham's offspring. So anybody that keeps himself and have the same faith as Abraham becomes the offspring of Abraham. And you achieve the promises given to Abraham through faith. It's not me saying it. It's in the Bible. I said it's written, I said, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our father in the sight of God, in whom he believed. The God who gives life to the dead and calls things that are not as though they were. Hey, look at the 18. Against all hope, Abraham in hope believed, and so became the father of many nations. Just as it had been said to him, so shall your offspring be. Wow. I love God. You know why? Because when He gives His promise, it's as good as reality. And I like Abraham. Do you know what Abraham did? When God spoke to him, this is what He's saying. When God spoke to him, the matter was settled. There was no doubt at the back of his mind. Let me affirm this with you. In Hebrews chapter number 11. We will come back to the Romans. So don't get out of Romans 4 entirely. We will come back to it. But I just want to use this one. Hebrews chapter number 11, verse number 8. If somebody is able to read it. Hebrews chapter number 11, verse number 8. Verse number 8. It said, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing where he went. Go down. By faith, sojourn in a land of promises, as a strange country. Do you know what it means? What it means is that even when God spoke to Abraham that go to a country that I will show you and give it to you as your promise, Abraham went and lived in that country, not as this is the place God has given me, but he was looking beyond the imaginations of God. Do you know what we are saying? And it's just like God is telling you that I'm going to give you this chair. And Abraham has this chair, but he's looking beyond this chair. That I'm looking up to a chair that is not made by human hands, but I'm looking at a city whose builder and architect is God. That is what we are saying here. And he said that he dwelling in tabernacles. The other verses said dwelling and living in tents with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. Go down further. And he said that for he looked for a city which has foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Oh, such an incredible faith. And anybody that demonstrates that level of faith receive an unsurmountable breakthrough. Amen. That is how come Jesus was walking. And a man approaching, he says that, I have a servant who is sick. Can you heal him? He said, let's go. He said, you don't need to go into my house. I have many people who are under me. I give orders and they do it. Just speak the word and my son will be healed. Jesus said, I have never seen such an incredible faith that just speak the word alone, which means that he was looking beyond the imaginations of men and what the mind can comprehend. Because what the mind can comprehend is that walk into my house, lay your hands upon him, and he will be healed. But he was looking beyond that. That if I have met somebody that is God himself, then God doesn't need to walk into my house. Because God can speak his word. Because as a matter of fact, if he goes to my house, all what he's going to say is he's speaking the same word. But that same word is not restricted by geographical location. But that word works no matter where you are. So he said, just speak the word. They said there was another woman who was suffering from an issue of blood. That woman had gone through a whole lot of things. Then all of a sudden heard that Jesus was passing through to go into the house of a child that was dead 12 years. And that woman has also been suffering for 12 years. He said, this is my season. You see, whenever you read that scripture, there is a tendency that you will look over it and start moving. But you've got to be able to read it and read it carefully. Because you can never understand what that woman was going through until you have read Leviticus. And I think Leviticus chapter number 16. Anybody that has an issue of blood in that Jewish community, anything that you touch is unclean. If anybody comes closer to you, that person becomes unclean. For 7 days. This is even a normal issue of blood. We are talking about a woman in her menses. So for 7 days, anything that is sit on becomes unclean. Do you know what it tells you? For 12 good years, that woman didn't have a friend. Because people can abide with you for 7 days. But when issue has become persistent for 12 good years, do you want me to stay closer to you? That I will also be taken to the outskirts of the town and be qualified as unclean. When I don't know when you're going to get out. People can endure up to a certain time. But when it crosses beyond certain boundaries, people cannot. So do you know something? When that person, you need to read the Bible with another eye. It means that when that woman or anybody with an issue of blood is coming, unclean, 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 and then you'll be saying it so that it doesn't touch you. Because the moment it touches you, you also become unclean. It means that woman was suffering. And that woman said, I will break every protocol and move through the crowd. Because if only I can touch the hem of his garment, I am going to be clean. Went, endure the pain and the rejection from the crowd. Touch the hem of his garment. And the Bible says that immediately the blood ceased. And Jesus said, who touched me? He said, woman, your faith has made you whole. There were some that requested that God or Jesus touch me and heal me. There were some who were also saying that you don't need to come and touch them, speak the word. There were some that received the promises of the Lord, but they were looking beyond the imaginations of men and were looking to certain realms and looking unto the realities of God with an eye not of man, but with an eye of God. You see, when you receive the promises of God, there is a tendency that you will fall out. They said that when Abraham received, now we are back to Romans chapter 4. When Abraham received the promise of God, he was fully persuaded. He was fully persuaded that this is what God has said to me. He did not, he said, facing the fact that my body is weak. I don't know whether you are facing the fact. Because sometimes we walk in emotions. You don't want to embrace the fact that I have a weakness. You know what? I would advise you, don't live in ignorance. If you are not feeling well, that is why I have faith. That is why I will go to hospital. I will shock you. That is why I will go to the hospital. Let the specialist tell me that this is the problem I have. Then I can handle it in my closet with my prayer. I have Faith. That is why when somebody has cancer and need to go through chemotherapy, I will advise the person go through it. Because it is not anybody that goes through chemotherapy and survive. You see, don't mind these people who are working with ignorance. That the fact that I have faith doesn't mean that I don't need to give all kind of. People are mad. Sometimes I wonder. I have told you, I lived in London, and those times we were living in Croydon. There was a woman that had, what was the cancer she was even going to? Cervical cancer. And they brought her, that woman could not walk. When they brought her to church, all the pastors said, this woman, we are not going to touch her. They said, no, this woman, when this woman gets well, this woman will not even come to church. I will not look for God. I said, no, God has not spoken to me, so I will do it. I was there in the middle of the night when the Lord woke me up. Around 2 a.m. He said, go and tell that woman that she's not going to die. I woke up in the morning. And that time I was doing my master's, I had to just do lectures and out. And then I went. I said, woman, you are not going to die. Because you know what? The thing had become so worse that doctors had given up. In fact, they had brought her home and given her a few weeks to live. And then she would die. In fact, the only thing they gave her was morphine for her to endure the pain. I remember I stood on that bed, beside that bed, and I told her, she said, you are not going to die. She looked at my face and she was laughing. The pastor used to say, I'm telling you that the Lord tells me to tell you because I've never lied. When it comes to matters which the Lord has, I'm passionate about it. And I will never say anything the Lord has not said. I prayed with her and I kept on visiting. The woman woke up one day and felt like going to the GP. He went to the GP. GP looked at her, did some few tests. He said, what medication are you taking? He said, the ones you gave me. The morphine is what I am taking. He said, but it looks as if no. Let me refer you back to St. Thomas's. They went, checked it, they said they cannot find any trace of cancer in that woman. That was the beginning of a bigger thing. The woman got so well. When we come to church, he said, me. Church. I said, I now understand. I now understand. Say, come to church. He said, me. Church. I said, no worries. We're there. I looked at her and I laughed. I said, this woman will strike again. 6 months in 2012 or 11. 12. We were there. I had finished doing freedom time. I preached in Peckham. When I finished, then I received a call from a family member. I said, who is this? He said, Auntie Mariam is at the point of death. And she said that she needs you. I said, I am busy. He said, she's in outside London. I said, I can't leave what I'm doing to come. Because I have seen somebody who is ungrateful to God. Before your very eyes, you have seen what God has done with your life. How can these jokers tell us that God is not alive? What am I saying? I'm saying that we have a God that can deal with issues beyond your imagination. Don't underrate His capabilities. Key in your faith. Faith works. It's not an illusion. It has worked. At least I've given you about 4 people in the Bible, and I have told you this woman's experience to make you understand that this thing that is called faith and the promises of God, it is real. We are not telling stories. So what are we saying? We are saying that if God has spoken and given you a promise, you've got to hold on and praise that promises with passion, being fully persuaded that he, that promise, has everything that it takes to bring that promise into manifestation. I don't know the promise he has given you. But I know that Abraham never gave up. He faced the fact that my body is weak because I am 100 years old. He has gone beyond Papagos. And Sarah was beyond grandmother post. She was not menopause. Grandmother post. And then he was still not lingering. He was holding on. Wake up in the morning. Make ready, make it ready. That God can come through any point in time. And let me make ready. He started buying things and preparing the way of that child. Do you know the number of people that will be calling that woman that you are living in that Google? You don't know what is happening. Haven't you seen the scientific things which they are saying? That you said, me, I'm going to give birth. You going to give birth. You are living somewhere. You see, what you have to know, when your faith says yes, God will not fail you. Your faith, when he says yes, God will not fail you. You know, that is why very soon you will realize that. That is why he says in, I think it's in Hebrews. He said that is why with confidence let us enter into his presence with boldness. Sometimes we talk to people and it looks like they are not too sure what they want in life. Me, I'm not part of those confused people. Don't be part of those ones. Even in your poverty, speak with your shoulders on top. Amen. Because you know that is not your current, that is your current. But it has got nothing to do with where you are going. You've got to understand that. You know what? I don't feel well now, but I know I am healed. I know that I am healed. I will not use my current circumstance to define who God is. And many times that is who, and that is what we do. We use the current circumstances and our current situation to determine and define who God is. Because I am in this situation. And so it shows that this thing is going to prolong. And I'm going to die in this. Who told you? Then you are on the highway of unbelief, which is going to be achieved in what you are thinking in your mind. But if you face all those facts and still hold on to God, knowing that this situation, not that it can change, it will change. And God will move me out of this situation. Mark it. What is the guarantee that when you sleep, you wake up? Didn't you go to bed yesterday in the night? But you had made plans. That I'm going to go to church. Who told you you wake up? Didn't you hear somebody slept on Friday? I'm sure yesterday he would have made an arrangement to go to BBC and read those news and focus on Africa. But they didn't have the opportunity to wake up. Are you more than them? Are you more than him? You are not. But you live with confidence. You know what? I believe that everybody and everything has a lifespan. And when that lifespan has not been exhausted and you have not finished, you cannot depart. That's what I believe. You can ridicule me, you can challenge my opinion, but that is my opinion. I think that when I have finished, because Ecclesiastes says that there is time for everything. So, if there are still unfulfilled promises over my life, I've got to fulfill it. When I have finished, then I can put my hands on my chest and say, I have fought the good fight. I've come through my feet. Now you can call me anytime you want to call me because I have finished. Let me show you what. And I said it on Wednesday. They said that Simon in Luke chapter number 2 walked into that temple when Jesus was going to be dedicated. He showed up from nowhere. He was not a high priest. And by that time, the Holy Spirit had not come upon people. But they said that this was a man full of the Spirit. Walked into that temple. And I'm sure the mother, Mary and Joseph would have been confused. Where is this man showing up from? He held the child and said, now my eyes have seen the consolation of Israel. You know why it was said? Because the Lord had spoken to him in his closet. That you will see the consolation of Israel. Not that you will see before you die, but God might have said that you will see, your very eyes will see the consolation of Israel. So that man was patiently waiting that these eyes of his will see the Messiah before he dies. I don't know what God has told you. I don't know what God has spoken to concerning your life. But you're going to be able to say to yourself that I am not going to see death until I have fulfilled and seen. Because God is not a liar. Where did you read it? Show me. The man has credentials. He has credentials. And he has a track record. You will not be the person that is going to break his track record. He has track record. He showed up. It doesn't matter the hopeless situation it is. He has come through for many people and done it. You are not. You think you are so precious that he's going to break his promises concerning your life. No. He has track record. Because the Bible is still open. It is still being rewritten. And we are continuing. Our testimonies, if there is opportunity to share it. You see, the Bible, the word cannot contain it. And the ones we see embedded in the scriptures are the ones that have been documented. And you will read it and you will not give up in your walk with the Lord. He said that when he held him, he said, now my eyes have seen. Luke chapter 2. Now my eyes have seen the consolation of Israel. And he He said, your servant, you can depart your servant in peace. The man's heart was filled with joy. Why? Because there was something, a burning desire in his heart, that I am not going to lose my life, because I will have every opportunity to see the Messiah before I lose my life. You know what? You are not going to die in your predicament. Amen. Because there are serious prophetic things declared over your life. Amen. And that is what you must make up your mind to live, achieve them before you leave and depart. Then you can walk face to face and say to death, when Paul had an encounter with it, he said, I have fought the fight, I have kept the faith. The guy said, I'm ready to die as a king. That was what he said. Because he was so confident that I have fought every battle. The man had serious encounters and wrote almost half of the New Testament. That even what he did and the impact he's made cannot be compared with those people who walked with Jesus for 3 years. You know what it tells me? It tells me that the statement Jesus made, that you can do greater things. Amen. You can do greater. The Lord is with you. Amen. I know you will not fail. Amen. I know you will not fail. Amen. It doesn't matter what the devil has planned. I don't bind and I don't waste my time throughout my prayer to be binding the devil. I have better things to pray. I have better things to pray. He said, when the Son of Man is lifted up, I will draw all men to myself. I don't have time to spend with the devil, to be answering him. No. The more I keep praying and drawing closer to him, he will fight for me. Amen. He will do the battles. Because sometimes we are taught that everything, even when a mouse crosses us, we have to bind and loose. We start our prayer with binding and loosing. Jesus is Lord. I will have him. See me. You will see me again and I will have changed. Don't be surprised. Because I told you. When I see you and you have changed, I will not be surprised. Because I know that that is the specialization of the man we have come to. Apostle Paul said in Corinthians, he said that you know many of you when you were called, you were not noble. He calls us to make our life better. There is nobody who has ever been in him, and his life has been miserable. Then check your doctrines. He said, David said, I was young, now I am old. I have never seen the righteous fall, nor his seed. Do you know what it means? The Lord has not forsaken anybody. You can't be in him. There are certain things, as we go on, you will realize. There are certain things that when you are in him, it is automatic. How can somebody be in Buckingham Palace and say that I'm finding it tough, but I'll eat, unless he has decided to go out? seen?
No.
Unless he has decided to what? To go on hunger strike. He said that if your real mothers knows how to give you good things when you ask him and he sees that you are hungry, then how much more God? I didn't give birth to myself. I've never seen a mother look at a child. Have you seen? Where are they? You see them out there. They're feeling uncomfortable. The children started crying. They had to walk out. The moment they cry, it makes them feel uncomfortable. And whatever they can do, they must see whether they have weaned, they are hungry, or they are thirsty, or they need to change their pampers. That is what he does. Not only he is your God, he is your Father. Amen. Oh, Jesus, help us. Your life is precious.
Amen.
The Lord bless you.
Amen.
We are going to pray. Next week we are going to deal with another thing. But we are going to pray. The surface of the water, and it was coming. But then all of a sudden, they said that is Master. They said some said no, that is a ghost. He said that is Master. Then Peter looked at him. He said, Master, if it is you, let me also walk. I said, come, let's take a ride. Come with me. And then Peter took the step and realized that he was not sinking. He was still standing. He said, is this in real? Move the second one. And the guy was walking. But he looked at the wind, the boisterous wind that was carrying around. Sometimes it happens. You know what? Read that scripture carefully. They said that when Jesus and Peter got back to the boat, the wind ceased. So many times, what seems like winds and wave that comes along, they are meant to strengthen your faith. They are not meant for you to crash into that situation. But when Peter was looking into that waves and boisterous wind, then all of a sudden, he started sinking. Jesus stretched forth the hands and Peter, why are you feeling this? Why are you walking? Why are you looking at the wind? Look to me. Do what I told you to do. What did I tell you? I told you to walk and come. Believe what I have told you. I've got your back. I'm your real God. He said, I'm watching your back. You will not crash. If you will crash, I wouldn't have told you. And they said that. Lifted Peter. Today you will walk on the surface of water. You know what you are in. But sometimes when we are soaked with issues of our lives, we look so much to the wind that is blowing and take our focus from what he has told us. Meanwhile, he has told us something precious that can take us to our next level. But we are looking so much to the wind that is blowing. We are looking so much to the wind that is blowing. The wind are meant to. That one is performing its function. Leave them. They will blow. Leave them. The economists are saying what they are saying. Leave them. You see, the state of the nation are here. They are saying all what they are saying. But look to God. Look to him. Look to him. The doctors are saying all what they can say. The lawyers are giving you all the explanations they can give. But look to him. He says that I'm going to handle your case for you. It doesn't matter what it is, how complex it is. Look to me. Somebody somebody is telling you you're going to die, another person is telling you. You want to raise your voice. You want to confront that issue. You want to confront that issue. It's just a simple prayer you are praying. Speak into that situation.
We cast down every spirit of imagination. We cast it down in the name of Jesus. We cast every spirit of imagination. Anything that exalts itself, we cast it down. Anything that exalts itself without the knowledge of God, we cast it down in the name of Jesus.
not based on our own power and might, but because you have said that you were bruised and by your stripes we were healed. Based on that prophetic declaration which you made on the cross and said it is finished. Today it is finished with every battle of sickness and infirmity in this body. And we pronounce wholeness in the name of Jesus. Today we speak wholeness. Any headache we pronounce liberation. Arthritis, weaknesses in the body, no matter what it is, bind it. Pronounce the healing of the Lord. In the name of the Lord Jesus, I speak for the healing of the Lord over your life. I pronounce from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet that it is well with you. You are healed because the Lord has set you. In the name of Jesus, speak for healing of the Lord. Mind healing. Sato kudi anda. Azita toto robo hosata yabrados. Izato kudi brika branda yabrando sata yabranda. Izete rabo sata yabranda. Akila braso to libranda yabaha. Thank you, Jesus. In the name of the Lord Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I speak for the from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Because the Son has set you free, you are free. In the name of Jesus, it is well with you. In Jesus' name, I speak for the covering of the Lord. The manifestations of the Lord over your life. I speak forth. I pray in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, I declare a healing over your life. You will enjoy it. You will enjoy And the Lord calls you to wax strong. In the name of Jesus. May the Lord restore your strength. In the name of Jesus. The Lord restore your strength. Everything that you've lost. In Jesus' name.
I brought you out in the name of Jesus.
Father, we thank you in the name of the Lord Jesus. I want every hand, if you can, to be raised and lifted up. Just the keyboard alone. In the name of Jesus, may the wind of your glory, Lord, blow in this vicinity. Let every chaff be bent. We release your children into deep productivity, increased productivity, effectiveness will be the portion of your children. In the name of Jesus, we thank you, Lord. We bless you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Bless you. You want to prepare your offering.